Alright, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy, Casual Elite Gaming, coming at you with a just kind of looks like a cyber deck profile because of the way everything looks, but in actuality, it is a Kozmo deck profile. And of course, the main focus of the deck is basically to try to lock out my opponent from being able to use their spells, and of course, control the field with my negates, my monster negates, and pretty much this is a pretty much a go first build. You can't go second with it. I do have cards in here where if I go second, I can pretty much still establish some type of board. But let me hop right into it so you can see what I'm talking about. Alrighty. I'll start off with the pilots. So first up, the one-ofs that I run are the Farm Girl, Straw Man, and sorry, Good Witch. Yep, so I only run 3 of those. Those are my one-ofs. Sorry, a little screwed up. Okay, there we go. And so going into my other monsters for pilots, I do run the 2, which called Wicked Witch. Basically, if for some reason I need to stall, I like the fact that she can pay 1,000. She can't be destroyed by battle or by card effect. That's actually pretty cool. It's going to be like a wall you can put up if you have to for some odd reason. If you're not getting the stuff that you need, you know. This is mainly a, if I didn't already tell you, this is mainly a trap-focused deck. It's kind of like a trap control deck where you basically minimize the use of spell cards for your opponent, and pretty much try to block out your opponent from being able to use spells as a whole. I don't run many spells in here. I do run a few, very few. I think like maybe like 6 or 7 spells I run in the whole deck. Just a little bit for you, okay. But it's nice to have a little bit of like a wall you can just put on the field, pay 1,000. I'm not sure about battle, but you might still take a little bit of damage if it's an attack, but still. Alright, so next up, one of your win conditions is actually going to be your tin can. And there's really nothing much to say about tin can. I mean, you definitely want him in your hand either going first or going second. Primarily, this is a going first deck, so you definitely want to see him in your hand as quick as possible. So that's why I run my 3 for literally just consistency of the deck. And last pilot that I run is 3 Dark Lady. Dark Lady is going to be a major combo player in the deck. More often than not, people don't realize with her effect, if you go to negate an effect and your opponent basically change another monster effect to her, you can actually chain her effect multiple times. Because the part for the negation effect for her does not say once per turn. Only her banish effect is once per turn, and not many people know that. She is a completely broken pilot. She is pretty much your go-to of the deck when it comes to anything monster related. So she can take care of your hand, like the hand traps, anything that you need, pretty much. But she does need a little bit of help because she is not that strong. I mean, she's 22 beater, but people play bigger boss monsters nowadays, so she does need the help. Alright, so moving on into the pilots. Hold on, I'm so sorry, my stuff is a little screwed up here. Okay. So first off, I do run 3 Destroyer. He is your main monster pop of the deck. In this build, I mean, he is going to be useful in popping monsters, pretty much. Helping you clear out your field, your opponent's field. You're pretty much trying to minimize, space, like I said before, spell usage, how often they're able to use spells, monster. It's basically a control build for the most part. Next up, I run 3 of the Forerunner, so you can pretty much do a little bit of like a stall. And sorry if you hear me sniffing a lot, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm a little congested at the moment. Hopefully you guys can see this properly. There you go. There we go. Yeah, so like I just say, this is a control build, and every turn, basically standby phase, you gain 1,000 light points. Every standby, he's on the field, your pilot, and not to kind of like cut out of the deck profile here. I just want to put a little bit of 2 cents in. If you guys do enjoy content like this, so far, pretty much 97% of the guys that actually watch my content are not subscribed. So it would really help me out if you guys hit the subscribe button at this point in the video. I would really appreciate it wholeheartedly. If you want to see more content like this in the future, you subscribing to the channel and activating your notification bell, setting it to all, would really help me out. It lets me know that you guys are enjoying the content. Also, leaving a like helps me know that you're enjoying the content. And yeah, I'm just going to continue on with the video. I just wanted to throw that out there because it's kind of hard for us to tell sometimes if you guys actually like the content. You're just watching it, not subscribing, and you're just leaving. So next up, I do run 2 of the Landwalker, just your protector of the deck. If you don't want your stuff being destroyed right away, or you just don't want them being destroyed at all, this is your go-to guy for protection. So pretty much self-explanatory there. Nothing really to explain there. He's like a floater, He just popped, floats down to 5 and below. And then basically with the other ones, they pretty much do the same thing. Except for Eclipser, he adds to hand. I don't run Eclipser in this build, but I do have, I believe I have a older Kozmo deck build. I do have one on the channel if you want to check that out. I do run Dark Eclipser in there. You I pretty much explain in depth what he does and why I'm using him in that build. So the pretty much big boss I'm running is Dark Planet, and like I said, he is a walking spell negation, pretty much spell negation on legs. And the last pile of the deck, and I should have put this up first, but things happen. Last pile of the deck, I do run 2 Slip Rider. You should run 3. I just put it at 2 just to make room. I figured I'm not going to need it as much if I'm trying to go for, pretty much stop my opponent from using spells of any kind. I do know that there are a lot of decks out there that do run some traps, but I do have certain things in place that might also help with that, but that's it's neither here nor there. And the last monsters of the deck, they're basically are non-Kozmo monsters, is the one Cyber Dragon, because I do run the Fortress Dragon here, in case I go up against Mirror Match. And I do run the 2 Spell Canceller to pretty much help with the I don't want my opponent using spell cards, because usually a lot of times a lot of people's spells are extenders of the deck that help them extend into certain combo pieces. So if you take that out of the equation, or you make it harder for them to actually gain access, to those combo pieces, the duel will usually go in your favor a little bit more easily. It's a little bit less stressful. Usually, a lot of times, straight for combo is to try to get this guy out in the field as quickly as possible, along with your anti-spell fragrance, which I do run in this deck, and along with your Dark Planet. So usually a lot of times you probably would get Dark Planet out before you get out your Canceller, or in some cases you might get Canceller out before you get to Dark Planet. But either or, you do have two ways of pretty much kind of like assuring yourself of like spell negations. Of course, anti-spell fragrance, it forces you to set your spell cards until the next turn, and and your opponent can't activate any of their spells until their following turn. But usually, for the most part, like I said before, a lot of their spells are extenders. It helps them get into their combo pieces. So if they can't do that right away, they're going to have a really, really difficult time. Pretty much, especially the meta decks are going to have a really difficult time pretty much trying to OTK you. Basically going second for them. If you go first and you can establish that, then that's phenomenal. And basically, if you're curious, like, well, how the heck am I supposed to do that? Because the one guy, the spell canceller, he's level 5. Let me get into that right now. So the first spell that I do play in the deck, or one of the few spells I do play in the deck, is Foolish Burial. So this particular spell here, you are going to be trying to use this before you even activate any of your traps or anything that are going to be preventing your opponent from basically pretty much playing the game. Now they have, I go first. Those decks, I go first. I do all this combo stuff and hit you with a bunch of effect damage, and then you lose the duel. So this is my version of you can't play the game. Foolish Burial will go into your your spell canceller, and I do have the way of bringing him back from the graveyard, which I will get into in a moment. So, yep, I got those two. And next up, yet again, few spells I run. Sorry, excuse me. Damn. Spells I run is the limit removal. Just in case where my opponent is pretty much anticipating that I am trying to lock them out of their spells, and they're able to get around my anti-spell fragrance. They're able to get past my spell canceller. I pretty much, or if they try to, I actually can't say that. Well, I was about to say if they try to get past it, I can just activate this way. I can't. But yeah, if they get past that, and I do have other Kozmos, this is my pretty much my oh shit card. or if I happen to go second and they go first, and then they OTK me with those certain decks that just pop off and you just burn your opponent to death. But yeah, so if I happen to get this and I go second, then I can pretty much try to OTK my opponent just by establishing Dark Planet, or just a bunch of lower lower ships. I almost got the name. Lower ships to the field. And then because they're all machines, and I think this, you can get into other combos. And I'll pretty much explain that as we are as we're going on. Alright, so next up, last spell that I do run in the deck is the Kozmo Town. Yet again, if I go second, Kozmo Town, I can easily pop this with Slip Rider, get Dark Planet to my hand. Or if I already had Dark Planet in my hand and I banish to summon, I can bring back something from my out of play to my hand. But I do have other ways to getting cards back from out of play, monsters from out of play to my field. So I will show you that in a moment. Alright, so like I said, first up, the one thing I do run, I try to basically minimize spell use. Anti-spell fragrance, which you will be using in tandem with your your spell canceller. Pretty much stop your opponent from using spells there. Sorry if you didn't see that right away. It's kind of like difficult for me to get the angle on this. There we go. Yeah, so you would use it like those two together. You would just know, of course, you would set that up. You would have this set. You would Foolish Burial this to the graveyard, and I do have a way of bringing it back, and I'll show you guys in a moment. You keep saying I'll show you in a moment. I'll show you in a moment. Just give it to me. I'll show you in a moment. All right, next trap that I run is the Escape from Dark Dimension. I run this at 3. Just for the simple fact that mainly a lot of the ships are dark. They are a dark attribute. And for not much to say there, you set this, activate target one dark monster that's banished, will summon it to the field. Basically, this is like your Call to Haunted, but for out of play. And when this is destroyed, it destroys the monster that it's equipped to, which is actually kind of good because when Kozmo monsters are destroyed, you can float down into your smaller ships, which is always great. And of course, basically how I would bring back the spell canceller back to the front. I'm only running 2 of these because this is for the simple fact I only run 2 of the spell canceller. So if I Foolish Burial, I set this to the field. I set up my my anti-spell fragrance. I set that on my field. I do my tin can combo, or if I happen to get Dark Planet, or if I do tin can, Dark Planet combo, or just tin can. But yeah, mainly you just Foolish Burial, activate this, during your opponent's turn, bring it back in defense, activate anti-spell. And there's other stuff that I activate as well. For example, Summon Limiter, or Summon Limit, sorry. And then your opponent can only activate, sorry, not activate, my gosh. They can only summon twice per turn. It's pretty much self-explanatory, straightforward. So yeah, if you do the back to the front, along with your, oh my goodness, with your anti-spell, yeah, you do back to front along with your anti-spell, and then you have this out in the field, and then you get your, and then you get this out in the field, you're pretty much locking your opponent out from using spells at this point. So anti-spell, you're forcing them to set their spell, and then once it's set, this on the field, they can't even activate them. And then if they summon any monsters, they can only summon twice. So you're trying to like lock them out of using spells, but then you're also trying to minimize how much fill presence they have as well. And it's like, well, but what if they got Ash, man? What if they got Ash? Well, I got an answer for that too. It's called Mind Drain, man. Anything that will activate in the hand, you pay 1,000, they can't activate it. Anything that would activate in the hand. So you're not worried about Ash, not worried about Drone Lockbird, not worried about any of that stuff. Phenomenal card. I ran out 2 just for consistency, so I can get it to my hand as quickly as possible. I'm pretty sure there are ways where I can just. There are probably like combos I could do with certain cards. Of course, I haven't discovered yet. That I could probably search this stuff, continuous traps like to my field or to my field or whatever. I don't even know. But so far, this is what I've discovered. Especially because the way the format's not really that great if you're just trying to run a deck that you enjoy running. that's not really like that relevant, or doesn't really have too much support like Kozmo. Kozmo doesn't really have that much support. Uh, we don't have any extra deck monsters that are like our own, which is kind of sad. Yeah. Come on, Konami, you gotta get on top of that, man. So, next up, Kozmo. Yet again, my opponent is doing something I want them to do. They got my summon limiter on the field. They make their second summon. I'm like, you know what? Let's just end this now. You know, get rid of that one, that pesky one that you just don't want. That combo piece you don't want on their field. And you just destroy one, banish that monster. You banish a combo piece in their grave that you know they can use later. You don't want that in there. Get it out of there. So, and of course with the Kozmo monster that's being destroyed, if it's a ship, then it will just float down into one of the lower level ones. So. And last but not least, if you just don't want them pretty much starting off a combo at all, Solemn Strike is always great. Usually a lot of times there are some combo pieces that people use that just pretty much special summon itself from the hand. It's not like a activation, it's just like a summoning condition. So you could just negate the summon, just be done with it, you know. Now, I try to think of like every little scenario that could possibly happen. Of course, last but not least, extra deck monsters. Like I said, I run Chimera Tech, Fortress, and I run 2 of the Genius or Genus. I think it's Genus. Yeah, Genus. Basically, with Genus, I mean, Chimera Tech's pretty much self-explanatory, but with Genus, pretty much you just need 2 machine type monsters, and then if and basically anything that this points to. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This link monster is unaffected by spell and trap card effects. So if my opponent Dark Holes, it's not going to affect this. This will stay. This is actually kind of phenomenal too, where if you have multiple pilots on the field, and you can run Dark Hole in this deck too, or you just want to run maybe like Tyranno Tribute. If you're doing the trap way, do Tyranno Tribute. You know, either you summon, your opponent summons, you just activate Tyranno, this stays, everything else goes, and then from there, since you're floating down into other Kozmos, this has an effect where if you summon 2 monsters at the same time, they point into both your zones. Then you can add a monster that is level 5 or higher, that is also a machine type monster from your deck to your hand. And pretty much that is how you guarantee yourself. Sorry, excuse me. That is pretty much how you guarantee yourself your Dark Planet. So if you have a hard time getting your Dark Planet to your hand, you know, for example, if you do your, where is it? If you do your Wind Can combo, you try to do Wind Can, this gets sent to the graveyard for some reason. You can't get to it. Okay, well then if you get into this guy, you get rid of your ships. This will guarantee this to your hand. If you by this point in the duel, if you already have like an established field and you have like extra cards in your hand, you can at least banish, get this out afterwards, and then you'll have a bunch of negates in your grave for him. You know, which is kind of really cool. But I literally had to like search like every possible like sorry, excuse me guys, every possible like monster I could find. You know, I had to search across like the Cosmos for cards, you know, that I could pretty much like splashable that I could just put in here. Because when it comes to Cosmos, man, it's a really difficult deck to try and basically do a build for. It's not very easy. I mean, the old method was to like lock your opponent out of extra deck, so they can't use extra deck monsters. And but nowadays, a lot of decks actually play around that, so you can't really do that anymore. So, sorry. But yeah, just real quick, I'm just going to show you what I was talking about when it comes to having certain combo pieces that you would need. Sorry, just give me 1 second, guys. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. Alright, so, for example, just making sure something, make sure I have, okay. Alright, so, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these would be like your 5 cards you would start out with if you go first. Alright? So, first thing you would do is, of course, you would just set your guys up, right? You just zoom out a little bit so you can see just a little bit better. There we go. You set up your guys here. My desk is not like the greatest looking space right now, guys. Sorry. Alright, so yeah, so you would set up your guys here. I'm not really going to set them. I'm just going to have them down here so you can see them. Sorry, there's a little bit of a glare. If I zoom back in a little bit. These guys up slightly. There we go. Okay. Alright, so yep, you have your guys here. You got these two as well. So this is your hand. So the first thing you would do is you activate your Foolish Burial. You send your Spell Canceller to your graveyard. Boom. You set your 3 back row. This is going first. Set your 3 back row. This is in your graveyard. Well, let's just do this. This is in your grave. You would summon out your tin can. Do your end phase thing. Sorry, forgot to. Alright, so you do your tin can thing. You most likely want to get this, especially if you're going first. You want to get this to your hand. And then maybe 2 of these go to the grave. Okay, get this to your hand. And then you can also banish it during their turn. Or during end phase, you get this in your hand. That's a part of your hand now. And of course, it's every end phase. So you can wait or whatever you want to do. But from here, oh boy, sorry, excuse me, guys. From here, you want to, during your standby, you want to activate your back to the front. Bring this back in defense. Activate your anti-spell and your summon limiter, or summon limit, so that they can only summon twice per turn. And then at this point, off their first summon, you can react, basically respond out of play. I'll just put it like this so you know it's out of play. Bring out your Dark Lady. And now you got your Dark Lady on the field. This will go to your grave. So you got your Dark Lady on the field, which is your main negate. Pretty much your spell, anti-spell, your spell canceller. Basically, any spells on the field basically can't be activated. Spell cards and their effects on the field cannot be activated. Negate all spell effects on the field. So, you have that. You can only summon twice. Usually a lot of times with monster effects, their first effect is the one that pretty much just says, hey, I summon, I get something, right? So, you bring this out, so when they go, they summon, okay, you have this on the field, you chained off their summon. They go to activate their effect, and you just pay 1,000, negate. And if they have Ash Blossom, you can chain the Ash, negate again. But also, also what you actually want in your hand, or if you actually want drawing it the next turn, would actually be phenomenal. Is your mind drain. So if your next turn, like say you do all that, okay, you negate their you destroy that monster. So at this point, they can't really do anything, right? So they're pretty much going to end their turn, because they summon once, and usually if their first summon gets stopped, unless it's a consistent special summon deck, they really can't do much. So if they can special summon one from the hand, and then special summon a different one, even after you destroy it with your negation, if they try to activate effect after summoning, they can only summon 2 times. So, or if they try to pop with a monster effect, pop back row, you can just be like, all right, nope, I'm going to negate that again, pay 1,000, right? So this pretty much protects this as well, because if you're stopping anything just being activated like once it's summoned, you don't have to worry about this getting tacked over, because your opponent needs to establish a board, or just be able to keep a monster on the field to be able to attack over this. So it has 1,600 defense and 1,800 attack, but at this point, your next turn you could just switch it to defense, because of course it has higher attack than defense. Or you could just play it safe and keep it in defense, whatever you want to do. So from there, if you draw into your mind drain, you're not really gonna have to worry about hand traps anymore. So you pay a little bit of light points in the beginning, to pretty much hold your opponent off. So then you just set this up. You set your trap. And again, your opponent has to set spell trap cards to be able to activate them. You have to set your traps. So it kind of makes them play at your speed, which is actually kind of cool. But so once you do that, you can activate it during their standby, and at that point, if you have this field right here, all you're doing is this, pretty much just boop, 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 because they can't Raigeki you, they can't Dark Hole you, they can't Thunder, whatever that Thunder card was, the one that whatever the one that you can do spell or trap cards. They can't do that because that's a spell card. They can't activate it. They can set it. They have to set it. So they can't even activate it initially. They have to set it, but this doesn't let you activate it. So, and then if they try to do effect failure, you just say negate. It's, it's hilarious, bro. It's hilarious how, like, you could just be like, nah, bro, I'm just gonna lock you out. And if, I mean, it's one of those things where but you have to get lucky though. Unless you have a way to where you can just search continuous traps, like, right to your field, and, like, just set them, like, just sets it right to the field. That'd be great. I may have to do a little bit more research, but this is really literally the main combo that I have for right now. But once you get, like, literally these three on the board, so literally your first turn, if you go, the odds of you getting, like, this on the field and this are pretty much high, because as long as you draw into your Foolish Burial, like, beginning of the duel, you could Foolish back to the front. No, the very next turn, have this in your hand. Have your basically your win condition already. And if you drew, like, this and this together, it's even better. Because then you can try to get Dark Planet, and then after that, you're solid. If you get it. If not, then, it's hit or miss. But with that said, guys, that is the deck profile. A little bit of a combo video for you. I know this video is a little bit long, but it's a deck profile, so sometimes they do run long. But with that said, I will be signing off here. And again, if you guys made it to the end, I really appreciate it. If you liked the video, leave a like. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Set notification bells to all so you can receive future content from me. And with that said, guys, hopefully you enjoyed and stay casual.